Electric mobility in Brazil. A reality. Are you seeing my screen already?
Yes.
Okay. A reality check: the good, the bad, and the ugly. Let's see some opportunities and challenges in this rapid evolving marketing that we have in my country.
Keep in mind, we've got about 15 minutes for you, so just
yes, I have my timer right here.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you.
Okay. Well, I was always looking for an opportunity to use the ugly, the good, the bad, the ugly, because this is not a Brazilian expression, but I love it. So good thing. Yeah. But I think it summarizes it. It's kind of no. It wraps up everything that's going on in a very fashionable way, I believe. Well, good stuff, guys. Brazilian consumers are embracing EVs. There are a couple of researchers showing that a growing acceptance and enthusiasm for electric vehicles among Brazilian consumers. People are genuinely interested in making the switch. 3 out of 4 Brazilians intend to buy an electric car within the next 5 years, according to a PricewaterhouseCoopers survey conducted with over 70,000 people in Brazil. This is a very good news. This is the impressive growth we have in our EV and PHEV fleets in Brazil. And this year, up to February, I don't have the March numbers yet, we added more 12,000 PHEVs and a little bit more than 8,000 BEVs on our roads. So it's an impressive growth of the EV fleet in Brazil. We are the biggest BYD market outside China already. And I had this yesterday. Amongst the countries that had the impressive growth of the EV fleet, Brazil is the leader. We are the champions with it. Other good news: incentive in specific states and cities. While there are no federal incentives for EV adoption, some states and cities are taking the lead by offering benefits such as reduced or exemption of IPVA, that is the vehicle property taxes, and requiring the installation of charging points in new developments. This is good. Expanding models availability. We have lots of models for sale in Brazil already. And most of the automakers are offering EVs in Brazil. Even Toyota started selling a PHEV model of one of his cars, and Lexus is doing the same. This is really something that is remarkable. Well, other good stuff. BYD effect. Thanks to the BYD effect, the prices of EV are becoming more competitive, making them a viable alternative to ICE vehicles for a broader range of consumers. Actually, you can now save money by purchasing EV. It wasn't like this before. And this price reduction was followed by mainstream automakers such as Great Wall Motors, another Chinese company, Renault and Chevrolet, and some premium brands as well, such as BMW and Volvo. Other good news: private investment in charging infrastructure. The charging infrastructure is expanding thanks to the private investment, addressing a critical barrier to EV adoption. You know, Brazil is a huge country, and this, if you remember the GEVA survey, infrastructure is the point that concerns most of Brazilian EV drivers. So this is good news. This actual some charging stations in Brazil. Other good news: new EV factories in Brazil. BYD, Great Wall Motors, and GAC, they are all Chinese, are establishing manufacturing facilities in Brazil, signaling a long-term commitment to the market and creating local jobs. And Chevrolet, GM, is also starting producing. They'll be starting producing this, I believe, because it's a secret. Probably it's a PHEV model on the second semester this year. Other good news: accelerated adoption by ride-hailing drivers. Uber 99, that is a company that belongs to Didi, the Chinese Uber, and other ride-hailing platforms are seeing increased adoption of EVs by their drivers, driven by lower operating costs. We have thousands of Uber drivers using EVs today. Also, the growth in last mile delivery EVs, thanks to the total cost of ownership. Electric vans, trucks, tricycles, and motorcycles are becoming increasingly popular for last mile delivery services, reducing emissions and improving air quality in urban areas. But not everything is, well, good. Some bad stuff as well. Inadequate highway charging infrastructure. We lack charging infrastructure on highways. This remains a major bottleneck, hindering long-distance travel in EVs. Large areas in the interior of the country lack electric vehicle charging stations, and existing stations usually have only one DC charger. In Brazil, we currently have over 2,400 charging stations with DC chargers, which represents an average of 35 BEVs per DC charging station and 21 BEVs per DC connector. It's not a bad number, but we don't have redundancy. But you see, when I first purchased my first EV, we had only 2 DC chargers in Brazil. The map was like this. It's a good improvement. This is really bad news. MOVER program focused on biofuels. The Brazilian government's MOVER program, designed to incentivize sustainable automotive production and decarbonization, disproportionately favors biofuels over electric vehicles. Taxes. Well, this government introduced the import taxes on EVs, with rates varying from 10% to 35% by June next year. This will increase the cost of EVs and potentially slow down its adoption. It's terrible. Resale value concerns. Well, here in Brazil, regardless it's an EV, PHEV, or an ICE car, cars are very expensive. And the BYD effect, not only that, but also the rapid pace of innovation are causing concerns about the resale value of EVs. It happened to my wife. We bought her a BMW 3 years ago, and we sold it because we're changing her car, and we lost more than half of the value that we paid for it. It's terrible. It's a good thing for one side, but it's bad for the other side. This is also something that concerns me a lot, and also Clementes and everyone at ABRAVEI. Pending fire safety regulations. Upcoming fire safety regulations for EV charging in buildings could potentially make it difficult or even impossible to install charging stations or chargers in residential and commercial buildings. As 90% of Brazilian EV users charge at home, this could dramatically affect EV sales. That's why we are really concerned about this. And the ugly. São Paulo IPVA exemption for hybrid flex vehicles. Yeah. The governor of São Paulo, which is the state responsible for 31% of Brazil's GDP, exempted hybrid flex vehicles from IPVA, the tax of ownership, while removing the exemption for electric vehicles. This decision appears to be influenced, and it is, by lobbying from Toyota in the sugar alcohol sector. And the funny thing, or the ugly thing, is the law that exempts this tax was aimed at reducing greenhouse gases emission, among other objectives. And the only technology that has zero emission is out of it. Terrible. ANFAVEA pressure to anticipate import taxes. ANFAVEA is the Brazilian Association of Automakers. They are pushing to anticipate the implementation of the highest import tax rate on EVs, potentially stifling the growth of electric vehicle market. And this Jalopy is their actual brand. It says it all. Inclusion of EVs in the sin tax, and this is like a joke. We have this proposed tax reform that includes EVs in the sin tax with a rate of 26.5%. This could significantly increase the cost of EVs and discourage adoption, And this sin tax is imposed on specific products and services, usually associated with negative impacts on health or the environment. Come on, what's the negative impact in Brazil? We have 80% of our electricity based on the renewable sources. So this is not our reality, but again, this is caused by the lobbying against EVs. And we are still facing that fear, uncertainty, and doubt campaign. And what is terrible, the government is constantly saying, oh, we have to consider the total pollution, considering the cradle, not the well to wheel, but from the cradle to the grave, and then EVs are not that good. This is a bullshit. I'm sorry for that expression, but it's bullshit because of our electricity that is very clean based on renewable sources. And this misinformation is aimed at undermining public confidence in EVs. Well, that's it. I'm sorry if I was too fast. Actually, I haven't used all my time. I think we have 3.5 minutes left, but now you have my contacts, LinkedIn, email address, and WhatsApp, Instagram, and feel free to hit me with any questions you have.
Yeah,
Thank
let's
you
do
very
it.
much.
Let's take some questions. That was a great presentation. Thank you. That was a kind of, you were quick, but it's so the whole BYD effect thing is so interesting. We don't have that in the US, which is why our cars are so expensive. So, John, go ahead.
Yeah,
I have an actual example to say to you. I bought I was the first owner of a boat EV in Brazil. I love boat. Actually, I have now a boat EUV, but back in 2019, I bought my boat EV when it cost 175,000 reais, and there was no other cars available. I used one 6 months after I bought it. Was almost doubling the price. And then the BYD came up with their very aggressive price strategy, and the price dropped like, wow, 30% of the original price. It was amazing for one side. I'm sorry. Please continue.
Rodrigo, thank you. And thanks, that's amazing what you did with all those slides. We will, we're going to start putting the videos of these onto our website so people can study your presentation in more detail. But can you talk a little bit about the lobby you mentioned from the sugar lobby?
Yes. We have a blessing that is also a curse. I think that's the best way to describe it. The blessing is, back on the 70s, there was this petroleum crisis all over the world. And we came up with this national technology based on ethanol, the biofuel. Okay, but we are holding on to that since then. And the sugarcane industry, they are very strong because Brazil, our economy is based more on agricultural industries than manufacturing industries. So they have a very strong lobby with the government. And they are trying their best, and they are succeeding at some points to reframe the growth of EVs. But not only them, because I'll name it, okay? Stellantis, Toyota, okay, a worldwide EV fighter, and Volkswagen in Brazil. They are working hand in hand with the sugarcane industry lobby. So they were able to bring back the import taxes. They were able to add EVs on the sin taxes. I don't know how to say that in English. It's ridiculous. It's a shame. It's almost criminal, but even with all those taxes and all the fear, uncertainty, and doubt campaign, Brazilian consumers do love EVs. And BYD is about to launch its plant in Brazil, and also GM Great Wall Motors and others, and they will be exempt of these taxes regarding importation, but they will be subject to the Sein tax. I believe at some point there will be some law movement soon to avoid this, because it doesn't justify itself. It's totally based on lobbying.
Magnus, go ahead. I see your hand.
Yes.
And then, after that, we'll jump over to Australia, to our next presenter.
Can you explain the Sein tax? Is it sugar industry tax? Or...
No, it's not sugar industry tax. It's this called, and that's the name. I'm not freely translating. It's the Sein tax.
Yeah.
There are some, for example, junky food, for example, is subject to the Sein tax. Cigars are subject to the Sein tax because they cause harm to your health or to the environment. And they succeed to include EVs on that, saying that, oh, the batteries, what happens with the batteries once they are dead? 90% of a lithium-based battery is recyclable, but they don't give a shit for arguments and justification and facts, because this was not what justified this Sein tax on EV, was the lobbying. That's why I strongly believe that at some point, BYD and others automakers will make some judicial movement to avoid this, because there's no facts that supports this Sein tax over EVs. But that's the idea of the Sein tax.
Yep.
Okay, Magnus.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thanks.
Understand.
Omar, did you have a question? If you want to ask really quick, and then we'll jump to the next speaker.
Rodrigo, congratulations. Just wondering, is BYD installing EV chargers, or they are only selling cars?
They are not installing EV. This is some it's a little bit controversial. They are the top selling EV in Brazil, EV company in Brazil, but they are not installing EV chargers widespread, let's say. They are installing at their dealers. Okay, but the investment on charging stations are not coming from BYD, are coming for small companies. Actually, this is the day that I'm starting working with the infrastructure company in Brazil. And the investment is being made by this kind of company. The biggest ones and the automakers, they are not, I'm sorry. I have to say, Volvo has one of the biggest DC charging networks in Brazil. So Volvo is investing, okay? But only Volvo. The others are not investing.